So I'm going to pivot us here into Phil's second pick. Maybe we'll just go in reverse order. Phil, if you had to take, which one was more disappointing for you? And we know what your second disappointing game is, but the listeners don't. Would it be this game, the 2018 USL final, or would it be your second pick? Which one was more disappointing?
For me, the second one has to be more disappointing because for one, I was actually there.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, why don't you fill in the listeners on what your second pick was?
Well, it would be the 2019 Western Conference semifinals, Phoenix Rising, Real Monarchs. And to me, this was disappointing more than the other one for a number of reasons. One, I'll say one because I was there, but I'll kind of get back to that. But to me, with the 2018 run, that was a bit unexpected. I mean, the team was good. They had a good season, but they weren't necessarily favored to get to the finals or favored to get to the championship. So it was kind of like a bonus. Last year, you had a team that was far and away the best team throughout the regular season, not just in the Western Conference, but in the whole league, maybe even of all time, if you look at the records they set. And then, just the expectations of, they kind of struggled down the stretch. And then in the first round, it was like once they got in that first round game with Austin and they got through that 9 penalty kicks and they came away with that, it was kind of like you thought, okay, they got past that. This is where they're going to turn it on. Now, that's not to say that the game didn't worry me, because it did, because I had said all along that I thought Orange County or the Monarchs were the two teams that could give us trouble, and that I was worried that when we faced whoever won that game was going to be our biggest challenge. But still, it's just, you went into the stadium and you expected that you were going to come away with a victory. And then Phoenix took the lead. So you really were feeling good at that point. And then everything just kind of went downhill from there. And I remember just walking out of the stadium. I mean, you get upset for maybe 5 minutes after you have a sporting loss, and then you kind of move on with your life. This one wasn't one that you just got over with in 5 minutes and moved on with your life. Remember walking out of there and feeling just like the lights sucked out of you.
Mate, yeah, I caught up with you on the walk out. Actually, I think I was walking out in your car, stuck in the parking lot. You need to sort that out, Phoenix Rising. We're still on that, by the way. We're not giving up on that. But it was more to the point. I think that Phoenix Rising was the better team for most of the game. We had 24 shots, but we barely registered one on target, which boggles my mind. Like, we had 59% possession. Real Monarchs had 11 shots. It ended up 2-1 for those listening. And it was awful. And I think there was a terrible challenge in the box down the south end in front of the supporters that wasn't given a penalty right before the death knell, before the final whistle. And it all just sort of seemed like everything was going wrong for Phoenix Rising on that night, including referee calls, including just, knocks into the boxes. And you know what? That shit happens, and that makes it so much more disappointing. So much more disappointing.
I'm really glad that you brought up that stat about the number of shots and the lack of shots on target, because I don't know how many people that are listening now read my Phoenix Rising preview articles that I do, but I had actually written about that, how they had a trend, and that even in the Austin game, I think that they had taken something like 4 times as many shots as Austin. but gotten fewer of them on target. I basically said, if that happens again tonight, they're going to lose. And that's unfortunately ended up being prophetic. Matt, what do you
Sorry, Phil, before you cut across the mat over there and then across the pitch studios. Just backing up what you just said just there, right? And we've spoken about it on the show before. At large. If there's one thing that Phoenix Rising has, it's not attack, it's not midfield, it's a defensive issue. And after that game, Rick Shantz said we were not very good in the final third.
Well, I mean, one thing
the final third in that case means we weren't shooting enough. We weren't hitting the target enough. It wasn't the final third being the defense.
Right. I mean, well, one thing that I think has been underplayed is the fact that Mustafa Doumbouya was injured and did not play in that game. And so I'll tell you what, in the supporters section, I normally stand up near the fence on the right-hand side of the supporters section. And Doumbouya played right back last season. So he was kind of the guy that was always playing right in front of me. So I had my eye on him all year, and he was just such a key cog for Phoenix Rising, and we missed him so much in that game.
Yeah, I do feel like we had a nice little recovery play. Corey Whelan played out of his skin that game.
Well, right, but he's more of a center back. I'm just saying at right back, especially because Solo plays the right wing. So Doumbouya was the guy that was feeding Solo up on the right wing. So I mean that connection was important.
I see what you're saying. Matt, you had a question for Matt.
Oh yeah, well Matt, I was gonna actually what I was gonna ask you is what you addressed, Aaron, was Matt. What do you think it was that caused the Phoenix Rising? If you look at their stats throughout the season, it was something that only became a problem maybe over the last 5 games of the regular season into the playoffs, where it was they were taking a large number of shots but not getting a lot on target. They just get impatient and start firing from too far away? Were they just tired, and maybe that was why they weren't the shots that used to be getting on target 6 weeks ago? Just they didn't have the leg behind them anymore. What was it, Matt?
Well, I mean, I think really this is just one of those instances as you had a team that peaked too early in the season. Obviously we went on this huge run of games being won. And I think, as much as the coaches and the players said that wasn't a priority, I think something like that just naturally wears in your head of like, okay, let's keep the streak going. Let's keep the streak going. And then when they lost, and when the streak ended, it seemed like that killed all their momentum. It almost was like they were just so let down by being defeated after 22 wins.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that game was on Dollar Beer Night. And we were undefeated on Dollar Beer Night. We're undefeated in 17 at home. I feel like you're right, Matt. You're 100% right. It's like, hello, we lost focus here. We're not looking at the title. We're looking at, damn, we need to keep this record rolling, which, would also have kept everything happening as well. Yay, Dollar Beer Night, all that sort of stuff, get the fans happy. But
I guess in some ways it's kind of maybe a blessing in disguise to have all that end in one shot, and just now the pressure's not there anymore. There's no Dollar Beer Night streak. There's none of that. Just kind of focus on the silverware.
I am going to say, though, I think we were robbed that night.
Oh, yeah. I think the reffing at the USL level is never great. But, I mean, you add, again, like Phil brought up, we were missing Doumbouya, who was huge on the right for us. He was replaced by Austin Ledbetter, I believe, in that game, who hadn't played a ton, definitely didn't have the relationship that Doumbouya has with Solo, definitely doesn't have the speed that Doumbouya has. And he gave it his all, but, it's just one of those things. And then you have the missed penalty call at the end, which was it was a stone cold penalty. I mean, I think even if you're a Real Monarch supporter, which I don't know how many of those are when you have, it's a feeder team for Real Salt Lake. I think you have to be honest and be like, yeah, that was a missed penalty. But it is what it is. It's football, right? And it's a game we should have put away. When you have 24 shots in a game, and you're not converting, at least 10% of those. Then you lose games, especially when the other team has 11 shots and completes 20%. So, it's just the way it is.
It's all well and good to blame the officials, but realistically, bad calls go both ways. This isn't as serious of a call, but as I mentioned earlier, I stand, kind of on the right side of the field. And I can tell you at one point late in the game, and I don't remember who it was that was bringing the ball up the field. It might have been Lambert, but it was somebody. It was somebody for Phoenix Rising that was bringing the ball up the right hand side of the pitch, and he was dribbling the ball right along the edge of the sideline. And at one point, he dribbled the ball. And it swerved at least 6 inches to the wrong side of the out of bounds line, and then luckily kind of cued its way back in, and it was just like went along. But the ball clearly went out of bounds. He was allowed to keep dribbling, bring the ball in. So I mean, there's missed calls that happen both ways, and it's just one of those things where, if you're the best team in the league, you have to be good enough not to rely on getting a call.
All right. I feel like we need to move on with our pity party here, lads. It's been really, really awful talking about this, I have to say. Matt, you're up next, mate.
Yeah, I think my next match is, I like to do, kind of international and then club stuff when we're talking about this kind of things. But this was really a disappointing match just because of the era it was in, just kind of the team that was fielded. And then it was just one of those great Champions League finals. And I'm talking about the 2008 Champions League final, all English, Manchester United versus Chelsea. It is 1-1. After extra time, and Manchester United win 6-5 on penalties. Now, I think what makes this kind of disappointing is really the overall game. I think is a great game. It was fun to watch. You had two teams that on paper are just monster teams. I mean, this is a Manchester United team where you have Edwin van der Sar, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, Patrice Evra, Paul Scholes, Michael Carrick, Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez, Ryan Giggs comes onto the field. Nani comes onto the field, and then you have a Chelsea team. And this was kind of that classic Chelsea team of the early 2000s. Peter Cech, Essien, Carvajal, Terry, Cole, Makaleli, Ballack, Lampard, Cole, Maluda, Drogba. These are two monster teams going head to head. Yeah. Ronaldo puts United up in the 26th minute. Chelsea level right before halftime through a Frank Lampard goal. And that Lampard goal really turned the tide of this match. I mean, Chelsea go on to dominate the second half of play, keep United on the back foot. United, play very well, play very disciplined, are able to withstand all this pressure. You have GDA Drogba almost winning it in 4 minutes from full time. So it goes to penalties, or it goes to extra times, and Drogba is sent off, and then you go to penalties, and it's close. Ronaldo misses his penalty as the third penalty taker for United, and Terry steps up to win the game, and he slips, and fires over.
Then it's amazing, by the way.
And then it's Anderson and Giggs, right? They convert, and then Anelka has a chance to tie it, and Van der Sar makes a save off of a really, really poor penalty take by Anelka. But and Chelsea lose 6-5, and so in that moment you're just disappointed, you're sad because this is the Champions League. You had this great team, and luckily 4 years later they were able to lift it. But great game, disappointing game, and it's one of those where I can look back on it now 12 years later and call it a great game. But in the moment and definitely from 2008 to 2012, this was the worst game. I remember as a Chelsea supporter. And then you kind of forget all that in 2012 when they finally lift that cup.
My heart bleeds for you, mate.
So, but great game all around. And I mean, like I said, these are two teams that, in this time period, these are probably the two best teams in England. You just have this dominant Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. You have this Chelsea, resurgence, and it was just a great match.
I actually can't argue with you there, Matt. I think they were the two best teams in England at the time. I do want to point out, though, that you dropped points to the Norwegian side, Rosenborg, and, one of your favourite teams, Schalke, at home. But by and large, you did pretty well there. You did pretty well. Oh, did you knock out Liverpool as well in the semi-finals?
Yeah, we did. We took out Liverpool in the semifinals. So, and then you have United going through, they played Barcelona in the finals. They had some good sides coming through. Yeah. Again, I mean, it was an overall great match, and it's just one of those things you look back on it now and you can admit that. But in the moment, obviously it was extremely disappointing, and even now it is to a certain extent, because you were, that one penalty kick away from having two European Cups, two Champions League trophies. But
all right,
it's football, man, right? This is what this episode's about.
Anytime you lose a championship in PKs and by one PKs, I mean, it's the slimmest margin of loss you can get. I mean, that's right. Rough. That's rough.
I've got one more for you.
All right, Aaron.
Phil, you're gonna hate this. I'm pretty sure you're gonna probably get some enjoyment out of this, Matt. But the next, my most disappointing match that I've ever watched, ever experienced. Arsenal versus Barcelona in the 2006 Champions League Grand Final. Quite like Matt just said just now, it is really disappointing to lose against, anyone in the Champions League final, but let alone someone of your own ilk, I guess you could say, Chelsea, Manchester United, probably English-ish. This is against probably one of the best sides in the world, and it was two of the best sides in the world. I'm going to lay this down here for you, lads. Let's have a look at these stacked sides, can we? So let's go and have a look over here at the Arsenal squad, all right? Has some legends of the game. Colo Touré, Ashley Cole, you just mentioned before, Matt. Gilberto Silva, Freddie Ljungberg, Robert Perez, and, of course, our favourite, yours and mine, Thierry Henry. This is a stacked Arsenal side. This is the best Arsenal side I think anyone's seen in about 50 years. I'm going to put it that far apart. It is huge. But it comes up against the starting lineup of Barcelona, of course. The Galactico Barcelona. In goal, Victor Valdez. They had Carlos Puyol as a defender. They had Deco in midfield. Ronaldinho. Let me say it again. Ronaldinho, midfielder. Mark van Bommel, the Dutch. Samuel Eto'o, probably one of the biggest indomitable lions of Cameroon. And I've been to Cameroon, and they're awesome. That is two banging lineups. Huge banging lineups. This is a game for the ages. It's set up. This is the two biggest teams in the world. And what do you think happens? Our fucking goalkeeper decides to go and shit his pants. Oh, mind you, hey, before all this happened, we were 1-0 up. I think it was Robert Perez, came across, scored a goal, bam, 1-0 up. Arsenal, looking great, Champions League. We were attacking all the time. Attack. The There was one time when Barcelona, with that huge alleged attacking force, finally got a shot on goal and they got one away. And they did. And that was sent off to, can't remember who. It doesn't matter. Sol Campbell, defender, he heads Arsenal into the lead. Arsenal look great. We're attacking. We're doing great. We're doing everything Arsenal fans wanted and still desire of this day is just this attacking Arsenal. We'll score more than you. And that's why I'm a fan of Rick Shantz, because he's a fan of Arsenal and a fan of that. Here's the thing. Arsenal could have gone 2-0 up. Absolutely signed off the check for the Champions League trophy winnings if Thierry Henry, my favorite player, I love him. I would go gay for him. I love him, but he missed. He missed an absolute opportunity to put Arsenal 2-0 up. And that, for some reason, seemed like it wasn't Thierry Henry. It was, I don't know, maybe I'm going to go for your favorite, Phil. Alexander Lacazette was there in front of goal and squinted, all right? He squinted. Fucked it up. Thierry Henry fucked it up. That's okay. We're 1-0 up going into the break. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. But then coming out of the break, Jens Lehmann, Eto'o striking out, crosses the midfield, comes across. Jens Lehmann, the most ridiculously inept but still very good keeper, just made a hashing. The first time I saw it, I thought that was an absolute fucking dive. Samuel Eto'o needs to go off. Go back to Cameroon, mate. Fuck off. But no, after about 12 years, I actually watched that again, like yesterday. And yeah, that was a definite red card. Deserved to go off. This is why it's most disappointing. Jens Lehmann, all he needed to do was just stand there. Just stand there. Arsenal were the better team on the day. We looked great going forward. We had one moment where Barcelona bust out of blocks, beat our defence, and beat us, and they did it again. They did it again, and they destroyed us. The moment Jens Lehmann went off, Robert Perez went off, was replaced by another goalkeeper, we were done. We were absolutely done. And it destroys me to this day just to think, just stand in his way, man. Take a yellow card. Just stand in his way. Stay on the pitch. Oh, God, it destroys me. It hurts me. And I'm still upset about this to this day. That's the 2006 Champions League final between Arsenal and Barcelona.
I mean, I think that what really hurts the most about this is the fact that when you look at Arsenal history, the one giant hole in the resume would have been checked off with the first game. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, you've nailed it, man. And it kills me because that was our year. That was our best team. That was our best squad. We'd just come off being the Invincibles. No one was going to beat us. But guess who did? Jens Lehmann. Jens Lehmann, bastard.
Let me ask a question here. So, what's the motivation behind bringing in a guy like Jose Antonio Reyes in the 85th minute when you're down 2-1 and leaving a guy like Dennis Bergkamp or Robin Van Persie on the bench?
Well, Robin Van Persie is unproven at that point. But yeah, I don't quite understand why Dennis Bergkamp was on the bench. Wait, what? He wasn't on the bench then? What are you talking about?
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He was?
Yeah, I believe this was probably his last appearance for Arsenal. Didn't he retire in 2006?
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I think that might be the answer is just, he was that late in his career. I mean, how much had he even played that season?
I mean, if you're down a goal, 85th minute in the Champions League final, I would think you'd want to put in the guy who scored 87 league goals for Arsenal. I don't know. It's just, I mean, this is Dennis Bergkamp.
You've
okay. It was his last season. It was his last season. So I mean, by that time, so he was born in 69. So by that time, he's 37.
I didn't realize Dennis Bergkamp was still on the Arsenal squad in 2006, and now I'm more outraged. This is by far the worst game. God, thanks for adding to the disappointment, Matt, Mr. Wizard, you jerk.
So the guy who came on, Jose Antonio Reyes, was, well, that can't be right. He was born in 1983.
Yeah, no, Reyes is a great player. He
was young, 23. I mean, he still had to be sort of unproven, right?
At 23, I don't know.
I mean,
Reyes is a bit of a club legend.
I should just say, maybe we should offer our condolences. Apparently, Jose Antonio Reyes passed away last year in June at the age of 35. But,
yes.
So condolences to his family, especially as they approach the 1-year anniversary of that sad event. But I just feel like you got a guy like Dennis Bergkamp sitting on the bench. And even though he's 37, I mean, heck, he might have one. It's like Drogba playing for Phoenix Rising in the final at 40. I mean, he's Didier Drogba, right? It's Dennis Bergkamp. All you need is that one moment of magic to send you an extra time. And why not a guy like Dennis Bergkamp to bring that?
Here's what I'm seeing. So that season, Bergkamp had scored 2 goals and Reyes had scored 5 goals in roughly the same number of appearances. So, I mean, you have one guy that scored 5 goals. You have one guy that scored 2 goals. I mean,
you have one guy that's Dennis Bergkamp.
This was also Reyes had already been on Arsenal for 3 seasons. He had scored 9 goals the season before. So, I mean, Reyes was a guy that was playing more minutes and scoring more goals at that point in time. I mean,
well, here's the thing, Phil. Dennis Bergkamp is before your time watching Arsenal. Okay, Dennis Bergkamp was on the very cusp of me watching Arsenal. This guy was electric.
Well, I'm not saying he's not.
Moments. He was.
I'm saying at 37, it's a different story.
Yeah, it is. But I'm actually with Matt here, and this is what makes this more disappointing.
I can't believe Aaron, I can't believe I'm the Chelsea supporter trying to make an argument for why Dennis Bergkamp should come off the bench in a Champions League final to try and pull you guys level.
Well, first off, you looked it up on Google. Secondly, I didn't know. Thirdly, I'd agree with you, and I'm agreeing with you, man.
I mean, it's I don't watch a lot of Arsenal, but I know Dennis Bergkamp is. If you need that magic, I'm gonna throw on Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if I have the choice between Drogba and Alvaro Morata last season, I'm throwing on Drogba if I need that magic in 5 minutes, even though Morata's younger and had scored more goals that year. You know what I mean? It's just
that's it.
I just don't understand. But you know what? I'm not Arsene Wenger. I don't get paid lots of money to coach first division football in England, so I guess we'll never know.
Well, I'm not saying one is right or wrong. You asked the question why Reyes over Bergkamp, and I was just kind of answering that and saying, well, Bergkamp was 37, about to retire. Reyes was, younger in his prime, scored more goals that year. I mean, those are just the reasons on paper.
Phil, you're also right. Reyes is an Arsenal legend. He was amazing for us, but not in the same way as Dennis Bergkamp. In my mind, I can see what Arsene Wenger was doing. He's like, right, we need some new legs. We need some new talent out there. They're going to run hard, and they're going to score a goal.
Yeah, I mean, one guy is 23, one guy was 37.
Damn it, man. I'm just saying, what the hell? We're down. We're down 10 men. We're down 1 goal. Give him a go. Give old Dennis a go. All right, lads, on that bombshell, I think it's time to end this rather really depressing episode of Across the Pitch.
And now it's time for something you'll really like.